In memory of the Lee Sampearl, from Rashi Bat Dov Ber, at the end of Shloshim, passed away 28th Cheshvan, Tovshin Pei Aleph, from her husband Michael and children Stephen and Natalie. We're very familiar with them. These are the guys, now they live in Leeds, I believe, right? Leeds? And before, Stephen used to live in, he was the only guy that lived in, No? Nobody knows? Stockholm, Sweden. Ian Meltzer, another exotic place. With thanks, Reb Eli, warmest wishes, Ian Meltzer from South Africa. We missed you, Ian. Where were you? As soon as flights allow, I will PG pop into RBS to meet you. Be'ezer Hashem, looking forward. Who else do we have here? Lili Nishmas Harav Yisrael Meir Zeichet Tzadik Levrocha Ben Reb Tzvi Elimelech Hashem Yimkom Domoi. And in honor of my friend, dentist, and fellow Daf Yomi Shir member, Dr. David Block, on his Hebrew birthday, Mazel Tov. And I'm recruiting a new member to the Daf Yomi Shir from Hillel Abrams. Psh. Ah. You know that the best thing you could get me as a gift is recruiting a guy. Did you ever recruit somebody to this year? No. Shoes. That's how lucky I have to get. Oh, I see Stephen Sampearl. Shalom Aleichem, Stephen. It's been a while. We need you to move back to Stockholm. We were able to say that we have a guy in Stockholm. Now, no longer can we say that. I want to address Hillel Abrams for a second because he's a very dear friend of mine and a good chaver this year. And I just want to explain a little bit of what's going on here so there aren't any hurt feelings. I was very apprehensive about coming back here. I'm nervous about COVID in general for the sheer sake. And how do you do it in a way that you don't insult people? So we came up with this idea that whoever was in the building for the last month and a half, just every single day coming to watch the shear, we don't have a right to kick them out. And to tell them go and not come. So maybe if we do a rotation. However, the rotation is very problematic because first of all, it requires many man hours. Second of all, it puts me at a greater risk. I don't want to be exposed to that many people. Last time I was exposed to a guy, he put me into quarantine for 2 weeks. So I don't want to do that. I really don't want to go through having to sit next to hundreds of people or 100 people or whatever. So therefore, we just decided the thing that makes most sense is the people that are in the building, they got to stay in the building. So I really hope that I'm not insulting anybody, because even if I insult one person, this whole thing's not going to die. I'll go back home. If somebody's insulted, let me know, and I'll go back. Right, Avi? You'll miss me, but we can't insult people. But I hope it's common sense. It makes sense this way, not to. We could do a rotation. I think it's not very beneficial. Maybe as things go along and we see that things are different, we'll start reconsidering it. But all right, a vaccine, yeah. So Hillel, get a vaccine and come join us. But I mean, we are at the max now in terms of the hanchayot, how many people could be in a room, etc., etc. All right, somebody help my chavrus over there because I don't like to say the shir when he's around. And he's having a shtickle issue over there with the coffee. All right, first email. Oh, first of all, let's just say real quickly, this right over here is a beautiful, it's a nice dedication by Shmuley Lemmer's mother. Shmuley Lemmer is a 15-year-old bacher who's unbelievable. Every single day he watches the daf. In fact, when we were doing the siyum on, I think it was Shabbos, he drove him from the country, from the mountains. He came into New York to be part of the siyum, a 3-hour drive each direction. When I was 15 years old, he lives in Kensington. When I was 15 years old in Kensington, all I was doing was riding my bike all day. You know, I didn't know what Daf Yomi was even. So I'm very impressed by all these younger kids. By Yoina Simcha. Who else do we have here? David. Ah, look who's here. Lynn, Gavi Lynn, and Rabbi Seltzer himself. Psh, unbelievable. In the research right now, what do we have? We have 3 young kids. Levi Friedman. I was wondering where that guy is. You were here every day. You were the guy davening shachars by yourself. Unbelievable. So I just want to read real quickly what she has to say about her father, about this neshama. Like this to sponsor Shir Tuesday, Nishmas Avinu Zekanenu, Rav Yisrael Meir ben Tzvi Elimelech Axelrad. He was a Rav and spent over 15 years in Chinuch as beloved Rebbe, principal, and dean in such places as Yonkers, Kingston, Pennsylvania, New Haven, Connecticut, and longest and most recently Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was not well for the last 13 years. He was remembered finally, Bekitzer, and he brought many people to higher levels of Yiddishkeit over the years, like Rabbi Stefansky from yesterday. So anyways, she just says here, it's befitting to sponsor the shirs as Marbis Torah. There's so many across the globe. As a Holocaust survivor, this was my father. Best revenge against Hitler. Yamach Shemoy v'Zichroi. Now you know why she's zoichet to such a kid like Shmuli. Partners HaChodesh, Shia Greenfield from the Green Star Electrical Contracting, Yossi Klein from Superior Plumbing Muncie. Also, beautiful thing here. I got an invitation to Siyum Masechta Shabbos by Ari Mack. I know he's with us today with Pesachim, but he caught up on Shabbos. So it's a beautiful thing. He's doing a Siyum today, Mazel Tov. And one last, very short email from Avi Avromeir Farkovich. I just heard from an old friend of mine that he will be joining this shir for Pesachim. So this is an old email. Can you give him? I hope he's still around. Can you give him? You know, yesterday I said I don't think Dambi's around. So immediately he wrote me. I heard that on shir. I watch it. I haven't missed a single shir. He says. So it's a big simcha. His name is Menashe Roth from Brooklyn, New York. Have a wonderful day. All right. Rabbi, so here we go. You know what? I just want to say a real quick Vitz, a famous joke that the Olam says, but it has some benefit, halachic benefit, plus it has the benefit that I could knock Hasidim for a second, you know, in a nice way. What are you laughing? Because you're Hasidish, I get it. They say a Vitz, that they asked, a Chassid went to the Rebbe and he said, Rebbe, I could only make it for one night. Which night of Hanukkah should I come? Should I come to the night when you do the Hadlokas Haneros? Or the night that you do Sraifas Apsilas? So from here, from this joke, we see that there's an inyan to burn the wicks and the leftover oil. Not only is it inyan, you're mechuyev to burn the oil, and if you don't make a t'nai, then you have to burn it. So the Rebbe told him, obviously you should come for Hadlokas Haneros because that's the hachana for the mitzvah. You have to make a t'nai. You just ruined the punchline. But the t'nai, that's why I didn't want to come here. You see. The t'nai is, I say, I'm going to use this oil, but whatever's left over is fine. I'm just, whatever's here. See, we learned the halacha. So anyways, the Rebbe said, you come for the hachana for the mitzvah, and not for the mitzvah itself, which is Sraifas Apsilas. So that's the Vitz. But from the Vitz you see that there's the inyan of Sraifas Apsilas, but also, more importantly, the Rebbe was right in a way. Because Hatavas Haneros, preparing the candles, is a chiyuv for the kohen himself. Only a kohen can do it, not a Yisrael. Lighting the menorah, which is already the next step, not the hachana, can be done by Yisrael. All right, that's the Kavod Chanukah. Now we're holding the sugya of Isser Achila, Isser Hana. So we're in the middle of a sugya, and it says like this: that Rabbi Shua ben Levi was pretty stubborn over here. And we'll see there's others that hold like him as well. He said, why don't you learn from Lo Yei Achel? Where do I know the Isser Hana by Chametz and Shara Niskal? Lo Yei Achel. Even Chizki agrees that Lo Yei Achel means Isser Hana. No, I don't like that pshat. Okay, what about Nevela? The Torah says it's usher to eat a Nevela, and then the Torah says you're allowed to have enough from it. Mashma that you can't have enough from Chametz, you can't have enough from anything else. No, I hold Dvarim Kichsavim. The Torah is just telling me in what that I could only give it to a ger, I could only sell it to a guy. So what about from Treifa, the word oisai? No, I don't like that either. I learned that chulin shenishchatu ba'azara is a dairaisa, and I need that word oisai. So Reb Shua ben Levi doesn't have anything to learn from. So the Gemara says, oh, you know where he learns it from? This pasuk. V'chol chatas asher yuva medama al oyel meir lechaper ba'kodesh loy se'achel be'esh tisaref. And then we went on to say, Im enoi inin lekan, I don't need this over here. It says be'esh tisaref, burn it. So I don't need the word loy se'achel. Im enoi inin la'achila. So if I don't need it here, use this for a completely different area, not for a chatas that you brought the blood in the wrong place. The regular chatas, you shecht in the Beis Hamikdash in the Azara, you sprinkle blood in the Azara, you sprinkle the blood on the regular Mizbeach. He went along and he brought it inside the ulam. Get rid of it. But I don't need this pasuk over here, so I'm going to take these words and use it for chametz and shara niskal. Unbelievable. They made it in the kan, tnei in the nacher. And top of daf, chof, dalet Amud Aleph. V'meinei in la'achila tneu inyan le'isur hana. Now, I don't need you to tell me you can't eat chametz. Why don't I need you to tell me that? Because it says in the pasuk you can't eat chametz. I don't need you to tell me that you can't eat a shara niskal because the pasuk says you can't eat a shara niskal. So if so, tneu inyan le'isur hana. So it's like 2 steps away. You take this pasuk that's talking about chatas and you bring it to chametz, but I don't need it by chametz. So Mamela is telling me isra hana. Unbelievable. Ask the Gemara. This is where we're holding. Ima kam b'sreifo, baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'akol niyeh b'dvaroi. Ima kam b'sreifo, avkol yisim shabato b'sreifo. It says in this pasuk, ba'esh tisareif, you have to burn it. So perhaps you have to burn. What's kol yisurim Shabbat Torah? Kol yisurim, all. All means chametz and shara niska. So maybe you have to burn them as well. Omar kra ba'kodesh ba'esh tisarev. Ba'kodesh b'sreifa, ve'en kol yisurim Shabbat Torah b'sreifa. So, if you're a pasuk person, this is the perfect daf for you. But we're getting to some serious sugyas on Amud Beis. Ba'kodesh. You see, underlined here, ba'kodesh. Only chatos that was brought into the kodesh, that's a kodesh thing, beish tisarv. Ve'kol yisurim Shabbat Torah b'sreifa, b'nach chametz and shara niskal. Says the Gemara, v'ay b'kodesh beish tisarv, lachu dasa. Hamed bar le'lik the Rebbe Shimon. You need this pasuk for something else. The sign Rebbe Shimon oimer, b'kodesh beish tisarv, limid al chatos shesorfim oisa b'kodesh. You take the chatos and you burn it where? Where do you burn the chatos? Where's the place of the burning? You have to burn it, great, but where? In the Azara. Ve'en li elazu, bilvad, maybe just the chatas. Psulei kachi kadashim, let's say a mincha, oila, asham, that became tameh. Where do you burn them? Maybe take it outside to the chveis. You make a bonfire next to your house. Ve'muri kachi kalim, minayin. And the parts of, let's say a shlamim, kachim kalim, that go on the mizbeach. You get to eat the whole shlamim besides the imurim. The imurim go on the mizbeach. So let's say they become tameh. What do I do with them? Here. What's v'chol? V'chol, all, everything. So all these different things that become tameh, you burn them where? Inside the Azara. So Mela, what? This whole pasuk is not extra. It's not extra to teach us anything about Isra Hana. I need it. I need the pasuk to tell me where you burn kachim that become tameh. Says the Gemara, Omar le Rabbi Yonasan Rabach Mahaikra Kamar Lo. Your own Rebbe tells Rabbi Shmuel ben Achmeni. Your own Rebbe said it from a different place. V'mivasim b'sarim miluim u'melachim ada boiker. Here. V'mivasim b'sarim miluim u'minalechem. Extra leftover meat from the miluim. B'sarafta es hanoiser beish. Burn it. And then what does it say? Lo yachal. So what's the obvious question here when you're reading this pasuk? If it's ba'esh tisarev, lo yachal. So what we're going to see here is what's extra. Is the b'sarafta ba'esh extra or lo yachal extra? It makes a big nafkamina. V'mi vasim b'salim lechem al boiker shein tamad lo yimar lo yachal. Uma tamad lo yimar lo yachal imeino yin gufei. If you don't need it for itself, so now learn it for chametz and shara niskal. We're going to see this repeat itself a few times. These words. So I take this from noisar, nothing to do with chametz on Pesach. Take this isra. I don't need it over here because it's completely extra. If I burn it, then of course I can't eat it. So what does it mean I can't eat it? It means I can't eat chametz on Pesach. But it can't mean I can't eat chametz on Pesach because it says in the pasuk I can't eat chametz. Oh, it means I can't have anah from chametz on Pesach. You go like this. Yeah, that's what it says here. These words don't belong here in this parsha. they're obviously extra. If they're extra, that's one of the ways we learn it. We take it and we bring it to chametz for Isser Hana. Imakam b'sreifa afkol. By the way, Chachamim didn't make this up. This would be impossible to make up. This is from Har Sinai. This is what they got from Har Sinai. They're just telling it to us. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu told us. That these words over here, Lo Yachal, come to teach us Isser Hana in chametz. Omar Kro. Where am I? Ask the Gemara, Imakam b'sreifa afkol yisum Shabbat Torah b'sreifa. So it says Sreifa, so learn Sreifa to Chametz, learn Sreifa to Shara Nizkal. Omar Kro b'Saraftas hanoisar, noisar b'Sreifa, Benkol Yisum Shabbat Torah b'Sreifa. That's why it's in this pasuk to tell us, no, that there's no Sreifa by Chametz and Shara Nizkal. Sreifa is reserved for noisar. Ask the Gemara, V'hai lo yachel lachudasa. So you tell me the words lo yachel are extra. Lachudasa, hamebayir le'elik d'Rebbe Lazar. I need it for something else. Anything that's in kodesh that became possible. Meaning, pigul, the kohen had in mind while he was shechting it that he's going to eat it outside of its allotted time. Pigul. And that became tamei. Yoitze. I'm sorry, that's pigul. Yoitze. It went outside of the Beis Hamikdash, or the blood spilled, says Rashi. There's a loisasa. What do I care if there's a loisasa? Before I thought there's an asay, and now there's a loisasa. So, Rabbi Isai, over there. Where am I supposed to look? Straight ahead at the camera? Oh, over there, like that. Oh. Shmak. Malchus. Everybody in Zoom is probably screaming, Malchus, Malchus. If there's a loisasa, so I give the guy Malchus if he eats the pigul, he eats yoitze. So that's why I need this pasuk, lo yachal. What do you tell me this lo yachal, this red guy right over here, is to teach us Isser Hana by chametz, when in fact it's coming to tell me that if I eat pigul, or where I eat from a carbon that the blood spilled, I get Malchus. Omar Abaya, Loilo Mikra Kama. No, let's go back to over here. I'm going to learn out from this pasuk. You had a problem that I need v'sarafto, beishti sarev, I need for something else, to tell me that all these karbanos that are tamei, you burn them where? In the Hazara. So beishti sarev is not extra. Says Abaya, you're right, it's not extra. You know what's extra? The loisei yachal is extra. So I make a flip here. You see this line? Flip. I thought it's beishti sarv is extra. No, it's loisei yachal. So beishti sarv remains in the pasuk as is to teach me where you burn the carbon. All these carbons become tamei, oila, whatever it is. You burn inside the azara. You make a big fire in the azara. By the way, Rashi points out, what about shlamim? The meat of shlamim that you're permitted to eat, where do you burn that if it becomes tamei? In Yerushalayim. You make a special place, fire in Yerushalayim. Because it's not for the Azara. Something that's made for the Azara. Anything that's made to eat the chatas. Where do you eat the chatas? In the Azara. You burn it in the Azara. Just flip what's extra, what's not extra. Before you're saying Beishti Sarf is extra, and we found out Beishti Sarf is not extra. So you know what? Loisei yachal. This word, the red is extra, and now I have a great source for Isser Hana, Chametz, on Pesach, and Shara Nizkal. Once the Torah tells, and this makes a lot more sense actually, no? Once the Torah says Beishi Sarv, burn it, so what is the Torah saying? You can't eat it. Obviously, if it's burnt to a crisp, you can't eat it. Then why does the Torah say Lo Yisei if I don't need it for itself, now what? Here's Rebbe Lazar. If you forgot what Rebbe Lazar, this pasuk, Hanoisar. The pasuk of Noisar teaches me. I learn a lav. There's a lav from this pasuk Noisar. Noisar is not just Noisar; it's all of the culture. So I don't need this over here. See what's going on here? I don't need this loisei yochel. To tell me that there's a lav, and I get malchus, I got it over here. So this is to teach me for chametz. I don't need it here. So if I don't need it, I learn it for chametz and Pesach. And once again, I don't need it for food. To tell me I can't eat chametz and Pesach. Why? Because that's a mefurish pasuk. To tell me I can't eat shar nisko, mefurish pasuk. Obviously, it's coming to tell me Isra no. Imakan, the third, fourth time that we're asking the same question. Imakan b'sreifa, avkol yisum shebator b'sreifa. It says you got to burn it. So maybe if you have chametz on Pesach, that's also b'hana, you mechuyev to sit and burn it. Avkol yisum shebator. Omakro hanoisar. Now we go back to this pasuk. Hanoisar b'sreifa ve'enkol yisum shebator b'sreifa. Maybe the loy seichel is to come to say it has a special lav. Where? A lav for chametz. Why is that important? We already said there's a lav. Look, right over here. What's wrong with this lav? This tells me chametz b'pesach has a lav. Sharnisko lav. Why do I need this? I'll tell you why. The im in the Rebbe Lazar, if I just go with the noisar lav, ein loikim a lav shebeklalis. It's a very general lav. You see, the pasuk is talking about noisar, and you want to include everything in there. Can't include all kachim in there. If it's a general lav that the Torah wasn't specific to chametz specifically, you don't get malchus for eating chametz. What about noisar? Do you get malchus for noisar? Since it's in a general lav, what are you tying to Levi? Since you answered the other questions, to answer this, what? What do you say? Wow, he's being lumdish with me. Lav aniti laseh. The answer is yes. This pasuk says specifically noisar, so I get malchus for noisar. But anything else that you want to include in this pasuk, you don't get. I have a new pasuk. By kachim that become tamei, here's the pasuk. Look at this pasuk. V'habasar sheyiga b'chol tamei. So kachim became tamei. Lo yeyachel. This is a very strong lashon lo yeyachel that even Chizkiah likes this lashon to tell me Yisra na. Beish yisar if you burn it. V'habasar koltar yoichal basar. What's your first question? Why are there three purples here? Basar, basar, basar. Okay, the Gemara is going to discuss that, but Rav Papa says v'habasar sheyiga b'chol tamei lo yeyachel beish yisar if shein tamei lo yeyachel. The Gemara is going to say in a second why this is completely extra. Lo yachal is extra. So Nachamal, if it's extra over here by Basa became Tamei, so what am I going to do with it? Bring it to Chametz and Shar Niskal. Oh. Meiser Akal. What are we talking about? We're talking about Meiser Sheni. Truma G'doyla, 2%. You have a crop, you give 2% to the Kohen. Then you give 10% to the Levi. And then you do something called Meiser Sheni on years 1, 2, 4, and 5 of the Shemitah cycle. 1, 2, 4, and 5. 3 and 6, you do Meiser Ani. We're not talking about that. 1, 2, 4, 5. You give 10% to who? To yourself. So now you take, let's say you can't schlep all that to Yerushalayim. It's not important for now. So you redeem it to cash. And then you buy, with the cash, you buy whatever you want in Yerushalayim. You buy steaks, you go to a restaurant, you have a meal. But you cannot be tummy when you eat the Meiser Sheni. But Meiser Sheni is so kal. Uma Meiser kal omra toira loy bi arti mimenu betame. You say vidui on the Meiser, and you say, I wasn't tummy when I ate it. Besar kodesh chamer le kolshkein. So certainly, kachim, that's much more chamer. It's Hamikdash, the whole thing. Meiser Sheni is nothing. You redeem it on money, take it, you buy a steak, you this, a Coke. But you have to be tar when you eat it. So certainly when you're eating kachim, you have to. So Memela, there's no need for the Torah to say, Lo yeyachel. This is completely extra. I can learn a kabbalah, a simple logic from Meiser Sheni that I can't eat it if I'm tamei. But you know what? You can't punish somebody based on your logic. You can't give a guy malchus based on a kavachomer. Says the Gemara, Keishu d'chsiv. It says in the pasuk, where is it? Oh, there's a hekesh. Here's a pasuk that teaches us what you need to eat inside of Yerushalayim, and it says Loisucha lecha b'shorecha ma'asar. That's it, right over here. Ma'aser sheni. The goncha v'dirasha v'tzarecha b'chayres b'karcha v'tzaynecha. Rashi over here doesn't bring it, but maybe I shouldn't have put it in here. But I think that when we learned the sugya, it was from these words also. This is like a asham and a chatas, fine. V'chol nederecha v'nidveisecha. These are korbanos. So there's a hekesh between meiser and korbanos. What's the difference between a hekesh and a kavachaymer? A hekesh came from HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Sinai. It's not logic. A hekesh is this is what Hashem said. Hekeshu d'chsiv loisucha lecha b'shorecha ma'aseh d'gan v'dirasha v'tzarecha b'chayres b'karcha. B'tzayncha, you have to keep on going. So therefore, since there's a hekesh, I could give the guy a punishment. Now I could give him a punishment. Now I could give him malchus. I feel like the oil is schluffing on me. No? You're okay, Ruben? Depends. To the guys that mamish love psukim, these guys, not so much. We're getting over this in a second. So once again, if lo yei achal of, where's that pasuk? Right over here. Yeah. This is Rav Papa's pasuk. Lo yei achal, I don't need it because I have a kal v'chomer / hekesh, so it's not needed. So I'll take it, cut it out, cut and paste by chametz and shara niskal, weiter gegangen. And by chametz I don't need it because it already says don't eat chametz. No, tells me isra no. So once again, same question. Maybe you have to burn the chametz. Now I go back to Rebbe Elazar's pasuk noisar. Oh, Rabbi Isa, here we go. Now, beautiful, nice, colorful chart coming up. I'm just to get excited for. I hope it's here. Yeah. Ah, look at this. You think this is pashat? Try to make one of these. Such a no. Maybe the lo yachal, not to tell me that it's also bahana, to tell me that if you eat chametz, you get 2 lavim. Why? So, why? Because we see over here, look at this. This is not a putisa. This is stam for illustrative purposes only. I have no idea what a putisa is. Even the article doesn't know. Looked it up, he doesn't know. He says putisa. But it's an aquatic creature. A sheretz, okay? So this is a sheretz as much as I could think of. Like something disgusting, seafood, right? So it goes like this. A typical sheretz, a sheretz in general has 2 psukim. In red, and then it's in the same pasuk. So these 2 psukim go throughout everything else. But if you're an aquatic creature, there's an additional 2 psukim. So there's a total of 4. So you get 4 lavim. That's the Gemara. So by chametz you should get 2 lavim. The Torah is telling you twice to get 2 lavim. Just like if you eat this. Now, if you eat a land-based creature like an ant, a namala, so you get these 2 psukim that we started out with, plus 3 psukim. V'chol hasheretz ala oretz. Sheretz hasheretz ala oretz. 3 more lavim for a total of 5. Now, if you are a hornet is, look at this, a mamish looks like an amala. You see, it's an amala with wings, basically. So, and it walks. It walks on your sukkah table, the whole thing. So you get the 5 of an amala, plus you get an extra one, v'chol sheretz ha'oif, a flying creature, for a total of 6. That's not important. The whole thing, we're not going to go into this, but just remember this. I can put this away. Next time we have the sugya, what? So a total of 6. And Memela Gemara asks, maybe chametz is a total of 2. Who told you that the lo yi'achel comes to tell you that there's Isra Hana? Maybe it comes to tell you that when you eat it physically, put it in your mouth, you're over on 2 Yisurim. It's not even close to an amala, to an ant. Lavi Omar Abaya, Ochel Batiza Loika Arba, Namala Loika Chomesh, Tzira, hornet. I'm not saying that picture is a hornet. I don't know exactly. A hornet, a wasp. The kids are all in the same family. Loika Sheish. Says the Gemara, and this we had a bunch of times already. There's no need to just add lavin. If you have a great drasha to do with that pasuk, like in our case, to say that it's also bahana, so you go that route. We just turned to the Daf Amud Beis, sponsored Lindu Nishmas Rucham Achai Fruma Shalom Bas Rav Dov Pinchas Yibal Chaim Toivim, and Lindu Nishmas Rav Chil Shragim and Avram Alevi Olav Shalom. By Kalman from the Five Towns, Lindu Nishmas, his father Menachem Mendel ben Simcha, and sponsored by the Fine and Pearl families in the Schus of a Refuah Shlema from the Elko Bas Edel. By the way, if anybody's listening that gets the WhatsApp, there's been a major bug on WhatsApp lately. I heard that many people haven't received their 8-minute daf. So if you're wondering, it's not because we didn't put it out, it's because, blame it on WhatsApp. Now I'm not going to tell you what daf came out last, that I'm not going into, but what? Yeah, we could just say that Chafei came out last, and if you didn't get it, it's because of WhatsApp. But that's not the truth. I could say that. I mean, once WhatsApp has a bug, you could just go with it. Says the Gemara, the habasar asher yiga b'chol tomei lo yiyachal. We just said, okay, where's that pasuk? Here we go. Going back to this pasuk. Lo yiyachal does not come to tell us over here for this kachim that got tomei. It's coming to tell us chametz, Israel. So the Gemara is asking, if it's not even coming for itself, so then why do I need this word basar? The whole pasuk is not coming for itself. So why do I need basar? And why do I need 3 times basar? Now basar, did you do sponsors? Who? Yes, you did. What, you guys in Zoom are... Yes, you did. Awkward. Noam, now you know how I feel when you get me good also. Bizyanis barabim. Just nobody knows what you look like and they don't see your face turning red. Okay. Great Nekama. Just went 3 minutes of sponsors and he goes, you gotta do sponsors. Like, go prepare that trip of yours over there. I'm not going to tell the island where you're going. Go continue preparing. I don't know what to do with you, Noam. Are you listening to the shir? You're not listening. What happened?
Did you do Amud Aleph?
He said, Noam is listening to the shir. He's just not listening to the sponsors.
Wow. That was heavy duty. Yosef, just edit this. Edit this before it goes on YouTube. I don't want them to think that we have mamish. Wee-wah. Okay. So ask Geschmack being here. Shano, Rabbi says, seriously, I'm having a lot of annoy. If we could keep it as a status quo, the same amount of questions, same amount of people, I'll be happy. The problem is that they want to sneak through the windows. That's the only issue. If we can keep it, Yosef, you're doing a great job. I'm not joking. I'm happy over here. Mom is happy. This is much a classic. Tomorrow, like we have to do something tomorrow. Noam, sponsors. You know what? Belina, from today on, instead of Noam saying Tehillim, he has to say the sponsors. He has to pay for this.
10 minutes.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, 10 minutes. Oh, where's Jonathan Stefansky? The rabbi says the Gemara. So why do I need this? Why do I need these words? Why do I need about basar? The rabbi is eitzim v'levayna. It's unbelievable because mamish punk fakert. It's like counterintuitive. The habasar means flesh, meat. So we're coming to learn from here that things that are not food, they're not edible, like wood and levina. What's levina? Frankincense. Final. We got it. Here. Frankincense. If you want to know what it looks like, this is what they say it looks like. I don't know. And it even tells you how to spell it. Listen, this is for Panovitcher, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 letter word. Come on, Nachman. What do you want from me? Wow. I should start using this. Woo!
I'm saying it.
Yeah. The rabbi says to him, "Va'abasar kol tor yochal basar the sefer lam aleinu." Rabbi said, "Why do you need 3 times? Once I get it, 3 times." The rabbi say murim. They murim the sacrificial parts of the behema that go on the mizbeach. That what they can become tameh. You can make them tameh. Says Gemara, murim mahasam nafka. That you're going to learn from these words. The sanya of anefesh. Murim mahasam nafka. Sorry, murim mahasam. We learn from somewhere else. The sanya of anefesh v'derech habasam is evachashlomim ashel Hashem. The rabbi says say murim. Hasam, says the Gemara, so now we have two sources. Hasam tumas haguf bekaris, 2 things. If the person himself is tameh, he's not the meat is tameh, he is tameh, and he eats it, that's terrible. That he gets karis. Hacha, our pasuk over here, basar, teaches us tumas basar, that if the meat becomes tameh, you're not tameh, the meat became tameh, that's only a lav. Says the Gemara, okay, here we go. Sugya, done. If you had enough of psukim, fine. Here we are. We're done with it. We're doing a brand new sugya, amazing sugya. That what? Says Rabbi Vo. Omer Rabbi Yochanan, the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Kol isurim shebat Torah ein loikin aleim elo derech achilasan. We have 2 versions here. When the Torah says you cannot, a certain item is usher to you, you don't get malchus unless you consume it in the normal fashion. Limutei mai, for instance, if you're meshugana and you go and you eat uncooked chaylev, the fat, whatever you want to call it, it's not the fat that's in a steak, it's that special layer of fat, the fats that are mamish also, they go on the mizbeach. If you eat that uncooked, which normal person does that? No one. So if you do it, potter. Because that shapater, it's not the normal way to do it. Yikid and some say, Omer Rabbi Omer Rabbi, and this is what Rabbi Yochanan said. Call Yisrim Shabbat Torah. Yeah.
Is that potter of al asr or is that potter of
I don't know. You're saying this is not Masechta Shabbos. Shapater. I don't know. What do you say? Huh? I'm going to tell you what the guy, I told you what the guy in Chicago said. There's a Magid that used to do the shir that I gave on Shabbos, and he would tell people, he was Israeli, if you got the question from the Atzkol, look in the Atzkol for the Teretz. No, look in the Masifta on the bottom, he talks about it. Serious. I'm not serious about the part that you stole from the Masifta, I'm just saying. So now he's not talking about achila derech achila, he's talking about derech hana. Limutei mai, so he has a wound, and he takes the fat and he puts it on his wound. It's not the normal way to do it. What do you do with fat of an animal? Either you use it for a candle, or you use it to smear up something, use it as oil, but you don't put it on a wound. So if you do it, where most people don't do that, you are potter. Potter alas or not, I guess it's a machlekes rishonim. V'cholshkein oichal chaylev chai shuhu potter. And certainly if you mamish meshuga, gross should be gross. You can get onto one of those, TV shows, those, I forgot what it's called. A guy, I don't even want to say, from guy came over to me and said he did something so gross, which is an isser, the eraisa, in order to get onto one of those shows. He came like mamish b'simcha. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm not kidding. So, well, I shouldn't call him from. So, in Chicago. Agobanim, it's gross. It's not cooked. So if it's not cooked, you are potter. You might have to go to a basement shugayim or something, but you're not going to get malchus. Itmer nami, Omer Avacha bar Avio, Omer Rabasi, Omer B'yochanan. Hiniya chaylev sheshora nitzkal gabi makosi potter. Here, you put it on your wound, your potter. Lefi shekol yisurim shabbat Torah. It's a tremendous yisoid in all of the Torah. Shekol yisurim shabbat Torah ein loikin aleim elo derech hanasan. You have to do it in the normal fashion. If you do it in a weird way, then you are potter. We also learned a similar halacha. You don't get malchus if you eat arla. In those days, they used to grow olives and grapes in order to crush them, to squeeze them, to make olive oil, and to make grape juice, to make wine. So the only time you're over on juices is if you drink from olives and grapes. Vilu mitutim. Strawberry juice. Te'enim, fig juice. Virimoinim, pomegranate juice.
Strawberry has arla?
So it's probably not strawberries. It's not strawberries. I just threw in strawberries because it sounds geschmack. No, but tutim doesn't mean strawberries. I don't even know if they had strawberries in those days. It means berries. Tutim is berry. Very minor, by the way, and every time we learn this Gemara, I think I said it like 2 years ago, it's kedai, if you're in Yisrael, kedai to have some pomegranate juice. Very good. Pomegranate juice with orange juice. That's the aside. Very minor, loy. You're not over. My time, so what's interesting here is that the olim shouldn't get confused. We're trying to bring a raya, and we're going to be doicha the raya. We're not being doicha Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan stays. It's very important to chap this. Rabbi Yochanan says the Yisod, you have to consume it in its normal fashion, and if you don't, you're potter. So we're trying to bring a raya from Arla. We're going to knock the raya out. It doesn't mean that Rabbi Yochanan flies out the window. His raya flies out the window. Rabbi Yochanan stays. My time, because that's not the normal fashion. The reason why you're potter if you drink a cup of orange juice of Arla, says Rashi, very interesting. He brings a mushel of peaches, cooked peaches, says Rashi. If you would be talking about the actual peach, let's say we do today baked apple. So if you tell me a raya, if you eat a baked apple, a cooked peach, you are potter, because here's the food. It's a salad, and you're eating it differently than most human beings eat it. You eat it cooked, where most people eat it regular. Then that would be a great raya. The Gemara always says it's about juices. Juices are just water. It's sweat. It's not. In other words, nobody plants a tree in order to squeeze the juice. Not like nowadays. Nowadays, obviously, old Tropicana, they just plant for juices. I get it. But in the time of the Gemara, nobody planted a fig tree to squeeze the fig. A pomegranate was for a pomegranate. So if you're weird and you take a pomegranate and you squeeze it and you make juice out of it, you're not over because it's Zeya Ba'alma, says Abai. So don't bring me a raya from there. It's not because you're doing it differently. It's because it's not a fruit. It's tam water, it's tam sweat. We discussed it when we went through that sugya. I forgot what Masechta was. I have no idea. Where? Shabbos? He says brachas, he says Shabbos. Oh, but he's doing the test on all of Shas. So whatever, we had a sugya of juices, and I think the Achronim talk about orange juice, bismanenu, it's not Zeya Ba'alma because they mamish grow the tree for it. I get it. Whatever. Ayin Sham. Amar Abaya. Hakol moedim beklaya keren shaloikin aleim afilu shaloik derech hanasam. But there's an exception to the rule, says Abaya. Klaya keren. That is, you're not allowed to plant seeds of wheat or vegetables in a vineyard. And the Torah says, Loi sizra karmecho kalayim pen. Pen means pen al. This means alav. Pen tigdash hameleya. Doesn't say anything about eating it. Doesn't mention the word achila here. It says don't do it. Don't plant. So Memela says Abaya over here, we don't have a derech hana, not a derech hana. It just says it's kadosh. It's asur. My time is shundulech sibu achila. So we'll start this sugya. We're gonna have to go through this again tomorrow, but we have a minute here, so let's just read it so that we could get to the bottom of the Amud. The famous basa b'chalav. When the Torah talks about basa b'chalav, the Torah says lo sevashel chalev gedi b'chalev imoy. There's an isra bishul. How do you know the isra achila, isra hana? Says the Gemara, Meisvi ben Yudah menay lebas b'chalav shu aser. Nemar kan by basa b'chalav it says ki am kodesh ato, your holy nation. V'nemar la'alon b'achi kodesh tiyunlin by treifa ma'alon also afkan also. V'enli b'achilo b'hana minay, and how do you know this hana? Amris kavachoymer u'ma'or lo shlo nevda ba'avero asura b'hana. You didn't do anything. You didn't put anything together. You didn't make a mixture. It's still also. Basa b'chalav shenevda ba'avero in a din she also b'hana. Okay, so we'll continue the sugya tomorrow. Boisai, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Oh, Shemalish. Shemalish, Mamkim Vasicha, Adinoi. Adinoi, Shemam Kalidin, is only Shemis the God of the Moid. Kim Chazi Choleman Tivorei. Kivisi Adonai Gibson of Shin Vorei Chol. Shila Adonai Shemon Boike, Shemon Boike. Okay, so Adonai Gibson of Chesed, Adonai B'dos. With this, Yisrael Mikol Avnei Savach.